Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to see how best I can work another database question for you to get you prepared for the database aspect of the CSEC examination. Now, as you know, database is not a popular topic on the EDPM syllabus. Well, it's a popular topic on the syllabus, but it's not a popular topic in exams. Alright, so I could have found only one past paper question as it dealt with database. Now, that may not be enough to get you ready for that aspect of the exam. And so I have gone and have done some research, and I have another question here in front of me today to type for you. Now, this question, although it's not a past paper question for the subject, it's still a database question, and so it will give you some practice with the subject area. Also, if you're able to do this, you're able to manage any database question that may come in the exam, because this question will go a bit further than what you may see in a given exam based on what the previous past paper that we did looked at. Now, I have the question in front of me, and it requires you, it says, read the instructions carefully, create a database called Mama's Pet Shop, create a table called Pet Info. The design view for Pet Info is shown below. As you know, database has two views, the datasheet view that is used to populate the information, and the design view that is used to bring structure to the database by stating the type of data that will be entered under each field name. Alright, so this table will be used for the design view, and once we have created the headings for the table and placed structure to it, stating the various data types. Remember, the data type tells you the type of data that should be entered under a given field, whether it's text, which is alphanumeric, or it is number, whether it's currency, etc. Once you have done that, then it gives us the information that we should use to populate the table, right, with our records. And records go across. So all the information going across, right, is a record for a person or an individual. All right. Well, that sounds like the same, right? For a person. All right. Let me leave it at that. All right. Following that, we're asked to do another table, and this now will be the owners table. And we're asked to do the design view for the owners. All right. Now, the description section, it was filled with information, but I took them out because it's not really necessary for us, and I just left one description item for each table. And basically, the description tells you what the field name is about. So here we see owner ID being the field name, and the description tells you that owner ID is the owner number. All right, and then the records to populate that, and then we're going to do 4 queries. All right, so I am going to open Microsoft Access at this time and create the database called Mama's Pet Shop. Then I'm going to split the screen and we go through this information. So here we go. All right, so here I have Microsoft Access opened. And the first thing that we need to do is to create our database. So I'm going to go to the top here, and you may see it somewhere else in your Microsoft Access based on the version that you're using. This is 2007. All right, so I'm going to select blank database. And when I click on that, some information comes up to the side here to tell me what I should do. It said I should give my file a name. And this is where I'm going to enter the name. Mama's, let me try to put it in. Mama's Pet Shop. All right, and I'm going to press create. So that database file, it's now opened and it's called Mama's Pet Shop. All right, so what I'm going to do now is that I am going to, let me see, so that you can see Mama's Pet Shop. So that's what the database is called. All right, so I am now going to split my screen so that you can see the rest of the question and we can work it together. All right, so here we go. So I'm just going to widen the question a bit, as usual. supposed to use to this by now. And then, all right, so I'm going to, all right. So here we go. So we're currently opened in the datasheet view. And this is where we populate our table with information. But we're not going to go there for now. We're going to go to the design view. So I'm going to select view and I'm going to select design view. All right, it prompts me to name my table. And so based on the question, let me carry this up a bit. Based on the question, the table should be called pet info. So I'm going to name it as that. All right, and then I'm going to press OK. So now I'm in the design view. So I'm going to put some structure now to my field names. So you have field names, data type, and description. That's the heading here for the design view. So my field name, as I would have said before, that the field name, the ID would have been there automatically. Once you open Microsoft Access, all right, a field name will be there called ID, and it will be set on the data type auto number. So if you press enter, it will automatically count as you go along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, automatically. Thus the data type auto number. All right, but I'm not going to be using that. So I'm going to go to what it says here. All right, and we're working this together. So it says pet ID. So I'm just going to go in front of ID and write pet. It says pet ID, and the data type, so we're just using this information here, is text. And here we have different data types. So the data type tells us the type of data that can be entered under a given field name. All right, so under pet ID, right, we're going to enter a data type called text, which is alphanumeric. So I can enter words and numbers. All right, so I can say a pet ID number. Where is that? So here they have ZPP, but the ID number being alphanumeric could be GHS 101. All right. So the description says this is the unique number. I wonder if I could copy and paste to save me some time. Let me see. Good to go. All right. So it says this is a unique ID number of each pet. All right, let me go back to text. It says that the field size should be 3. So the field size by default is on 255. So I'm going to change that to 3. All right, so you cannot enter any more than 3 characters for this field. If the character is 4, it can't go. And if you note all the pet IDs here, ZPP, HMM, ZUC is 3. There are 3 characters. All right, can't go more than 3. All right, so let me move a bit faster now. So we're going to enter the pet name. And that is also text. And the field size is 11. All right, trying to go a bit faster. Pet type. I have done a video on database, a comprehensive video on database. So if it is that you need any additional information, right, I'm going to link that video at the end so you can always watch it to get a better idea of this. Although when doing this video, I'm going to try to be as detailed as I can and explain along the way. All right. All right, so this one should be number, not text now, but number. So we're entering a number for pet weight. All right, because the pet weight is D, or pet weight is right, or 2 TWO. No, they need a number. All right, so you're going to write the numeral. All right, so pet weight is number. All right, and pet weight, right, I think they had, so we're going to leave that as that, but I think they had byte. I'm going to put it to byte. Byte was there and I deleted it, but let me put it back. All right, so let me put byte here. Let me put it back. All right, so what else did they give us? Nothing. Owner ID. Owner ID, and that is text, and the text and the field size is 4. All right, so that seems as if we are complete. So I am now going to, oh, and it says primary key. So pet ID, yes, is our primary key, and there you have the key there, right? By default, it was on ID number, and primary keys are unique, allows us to give a unique identifier to our table. So the pet info table is identified by the ID number. All right, so I'm going to go back, select view and go to datasheet view. I will be prompted to save my table. You must first save your table, and I'm going to say yes. All right, so now all those field names that we created are formulated, have formed the heading of our table. So all I'm going to do now is to input this information here and populate my table with all these records. All right, so I'm just going to do one. Then I'm going to move ahead and then come back and show you what the finished table would look like. All right, dog 80 and owner is OWCL. And that's it. So I'm going to move ahead and populate the table and then come back and show you what that finished table looks like. All right, guys, so I have just completed the table for pet info. I'm now going to move on with the instruction. It says, create another table called owners. The design view for owners table is shown below. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to go on my ribbon and I'm going to select create. All right, when I select create, I'm going to go to table and another table will come up. So all I would need to do at this point is just to go on view and select design view. And it says to give my table a name. So the name for this table is now owners. And I'm going to press OK. And here I am in the design view for the owners table. And I'm just going to do with it as I see here. Owner ID. So in front of ID, I'm going to write owner. So owner ID, change the data type to text. Right, and the text data type, field size is 4, and we only use field size for the text data type. All right, then we have owner. So the owner ID is basically the owner number. All right, and that's it. So I'm just going to follow through and do this, and then come back to you once I'm finished. All right, I'm doing this to try and save time with the video. All right, so text and the field size is 35. Moving on. All right, so I'm just going to finish this and come back, guys. Give me a second. All right, so I've just completed the last one, parish text 15. All right, so I have now completed the design view for the owners table. All right, the other thing it says that owner's ID should be a primary key, and here you have the key being there. All right, primary key being beside the owner's ID. So I'm just going to go back to view and go to datasheet view. I'll be prompted to save the table as you see here. I'm going to press yes. All right, and all those field names are now the headings for my table. Now they are a bit close. You can always click and widen if you so desire so that information can be better seen in the table. All right, but as you know, my screen is split, so I don't want to do that too much so that the information is hidden. All right, so the next thing I need to do is to move on with the question and to enter all this information here for the owners. All right, so I'm going to do one and then come back with the others. So we'll start off with the owner ID, OCL, owner name, Orville Clark. All right, Orville Clark, the owner number. So this is 56478. All right, and the owner number is the text. If you look here, owner number is a text data type. And why is it is a text data type and not a number is because you have the dash in it. All right, and if you had the area code, you'd have had the brackets there, and those are symbols. All right, and so if you're using symbols, your data type has to be text. All right, so that's a number, the address for Hopewood. All right, and the parish is Kingston. All right, so that is it. So I'm just going to populate the rest of this table and come back to you in a bit. All right, guys, so here I am, just completed. All right, so I'm going to widen this column as I'm not seeing Kingsley's surname properly. All right, and if you want, you can change the font style and size. All right, so I'm just going to press T times New Roman font size 12. All right. All right, so I am through with both tables now. Now the next thing is for me to do a query. Now I am going to, let me widen this table here and do some things first. Now, when you're doing a query, from time to time you may need information because we now have two tables. Let me expand this section here. So you're able now to see all the tables and queries, etc. that you've created in a column to the left. I closed it up because I was dealing with a small space. Now I can enlarge this section for you to see. So when your tables are created, they come here. Now, so sometimes you're doing what is called a query, and you may need information from more than one table, right? Now, for these tables to speak as one, you have to link them, right? We call in database, create a relationship between these tables. Now, the question didn't ask for us to create a relationship, but I am going to create a relationship because I've added a query to the table, or to the question rather, that requires information from both tables. So how do I create that relationship? I am going to go to my ribbon, and I'm going to go on, right, let me deselect this. All right, I'm going to go to database tools, and then I'm going to go on relationships. When I click on relationships, the show table dialog box comes up and it shows me all the tables that I have. All right, I can select them one by one, or I can highlight both of them and press add. So I'm just going to highlight both and press add. Both of them are now up, and I'm going to close this box. So here are both my tables. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to look for anything that is familiar, right, in both tables, and I'm going to create a link using that familiarity between both tables. Now when I look in my owners table, I see owner ID here. And when I look in my pet info table, I see owner ID there as well. So this table will be joined together based on the fact that both owner ID is common in both tables. So I'm going to click on owner ID in the owners table, hold down my mouse, and I'm going to drag it across to owner ID. All right. Now the edit relationship dialog box comes up, and I see owner. For the owners table, I see owner ID. For the pet info table, owner ID as well. And that's what I want. So I'm just going to press create. I don't need to do anything else with this. I'm going to press create, and then that link will be shown that they are now in a relationship. All right. So that is it. And it doesn't matter where you take them, they are always linked. All right. So that's it for the relationship. I'm just going to close this. Do you want to save? Yes, I do. All right, so my relationship is now created. Now I can start doing my queries. Now to do my queries, I'm going to go to create. Now under the create section, you have your settings, you have tables, so you know how to create tables by now. Create forms and create reports. I've done these in previous videos as well. All right, but maybe for this video, I may create a quick form. I'm not sure as yet. But forms, reports, and other. Under other, we have queries. So I'm going to go to query design. All right, and the information comes up, the show table comes up for me to select the table that I want to do my query with. All right, if I can remember well, the popular table that I'll be using is a pet info table. So I'm going to select that and press add, and then I'm going to close this. All right, I'm going to minimize this section as well because I am going to split back my screen. Although it's already split, I'm just going to small up this screen so that I can see what the query is about. All right, but that is it. And for the query, let me carry this up a bit. What you need is the field name, the table that the information is coming from. You can also sort the information in the table, whether by ascending or descending order. You can select the box to say show, whether you want that information to be shown when you create the query. If you have a given criteria, you can put it here. And if you have more than one criteria, you can put them, right? Criteria, and if that is not the criteria, if that is not satisfied, then you go to or and put the other criteria there. All right, so I'm just going to small up this screen to see what my first query is. All right, I can stop here. So it says display pet ID Pet name, so let me do them each. Pet ID, double click and it comes down here. Pet ID, and queries are simple. Pet name, pet weight. Alright, so display pet ID, pet name, pet weight of all the pets with weight that is greater than 10 pounds. So the criteria for that is that their weight must be, so on the criteria, their weight must be greater than 10 pounds. You don't want to write the word pounds, just 10. Alright? Because the weight in the table will already be in pounds. So it's greater than 10 pounds. And that's it for the query. All I now need to do is to press run. And I see that information be displayed here. Query 1. Alright, so I see the pet ID, I see the pet name. So zipper is 80 pounds, Hummer is 250 pounds, and pickle is 12 pounds. Alright, and that's my first query. I can also, it says pet weight, call the query pet weight. Alright, I'm going to press save, and I'm going to call this pet underscore weight. And that's my first query. Very simple. Alright, my other, and let me expand this. And there you have the query being displayed, two tables. This is the sign, the symbol for queries. Alright, and there it is under the pet info table. Alright, and my other query lists the names of all the pets that are owned by Orville Clark. Alright, the query should display the pet name. Alright, so I'm going to go again to create and go on queries. Now the screen is smaller, I can hardly see what I'm working with. Let me widen a bit. Alright, so query design, pet info table again. Close that. So let us go now. So it says list the name of all the pets that are owned by Orville Clark. The pet name, so double click on that are owned by Orville Clark. Alright, so let me just quickly do a two table type of thing here. Alright, so rather than inserting one table, remember that the owner ID, right? So here we don't have the owner's name. So it says Orville Clark's name is not here, only the ID. And we can only get Orville Clark's name from where? The other table, which is the owner's table. So I'm going to click on the show table again. I'm going to select owner and add close. So here it shows that we have a relationship with them. So this is the evidence again that a relationship was created. So here we have the owner's name in the owner's table. Alright, so we need both tables to create this query. Let me take this up a bit. Alright, so let us go back now. Alrighty, so it says we need a pet name, so I'm going to double click on that. Alright, and you don't have to double click on it. Alright, let me show you the other way. We need a pet type. So I'm going to click here, and from the drop down list, I'm going to look for pet type and select it. Alright, so that's how we would have gotten it the other way, and the owner's name. Alright, double click owner's name. Alright, so we have all three things that we need, and list the names of all the pets that are owned by Orville Clark. So on the criteria, on the owner's name, I need to write the owner's name, O-R-V-I-L-L-E-C-L-A-R-K-E, Orville Clark. Alright, and you ensure that you spell it correctly, and you press run. And there it is. So, dog. So only one. Let us go again. Alright, so to go back, we just go to the design view. Alright, and to check, so the pet Orville Clark. So we are seeing OW, so we're seeing a dog that is owned by Orville Clark, but we're also seeing that he owns a hamster as well. So it must be that something was wrong. So here I am seeing, and indeed we have something incorrect. OCWL for Orville Clark, and here I have OWCL, and I have OCWL. So I wrote it wrong right here. So let me fix that for the query to be updated. OWCL. And it's a prime example of something that is incorrect. So you need to ensure that when you're doing yours, you double check at all times. It's like how I run the query, not because the query ran and it worked, means that everything is okay. I went back to the pet info table to double check the information to see if all that should be in that query is there. Alright, and so you need to ensure that you do that as well. Alright, so this is there. So let me go back to the query. Alright, and so we run it, view, datasheet view. Alright, so it's not updated here. Alright. So we need to update the table. All right. Let me go back home. So we can do it another way. All right. So that is there. All right. So that is okay. All right, hold on. So if it is that we knew we didn't want to write out the entire name Orville Clark, but the information in the pet table needs to be updated, needs to be saved, all right, for everything to be shown. But I'll do that in a bit. If we did not want to write out the entire name for Orville Clark, and he was the only pet owner, as we can see here, is the only pet owner that has a name that starts with O. All right, so we can say like, and we have open quote O. And then we can put the asterisk sign. For me, I take the asterisk sign to mean anything that comes after that letter. And I can close back my quote. Alright, so it will be, so he's the only one with an O, and the asterisk is anything that comes after, as you can see. Alright, so I can go now to my datasheet view, and there you have the information for Orville Clark. As I said before, let me quickly go back to my table and update that information. So here we are. Let me close back this. The pet info table, I'm going to press save. Alright, and I'm going to close it. Alright, and close this query as well. Do you want to save the changes? Yes, I do. And what is the name of this query? O Clark. O underscore CLARKP. Okay. Alright, so I closed those tables. Let me go again. So I'm going to open the, where is it? The pet info table. Alright. And I'm checking to see that the information OWCL has been updated. Good. I'm going to open back the Orville Clark's table at this time. And because I have saved the information, right, which would have updated anything that I would have written in the pet info table, then automatically the information would have been updated in the query as well. As you remember, or as you can remember, that the query for this person only showed that he owned a dog, right? But when we looked at the original table, we also saw that he owned hamsters as well, all right, or an hamster. And so that information was not being shown here, or was not shown here, sounds funny, right, because we did not update the original table. So because we did, and we had to close out everything as well. So because we did that and we reopened, we are able to see the information being displayed. All right, let me go back to the design view here. Remember now, under owner's name, we had like O asterisk. Now, say for example, you're in your exam and you do not remember how to do queries. All right, let me just take out like O and just put the person's name. So they spoke about Orville Clark, so you write back Orville Clark, just to be on the safe side. When you press run, there it is. All right, so stick to what you're used to. And then the final query says, it's not the final one, list all the names of pets whose pet name begins with the letter Z. All right, so that's a simple one. Let me close out these queries. Do I want to save the changes? Yes. So, all right, so let me go now, and we can close this one as well. Yes. So it says create, widen the screen to see the other part, this query design. So all the pet names. So we just need a pet info table here. I'm going to press add, close this. So quickly go again. All the names of pets whose pet name begins with the letter Z. So what do we want? The pet name. Pet name. What else do we want? The pet type. All right, let me put the pet name. They didn't say specify, and the pet type. All right, so the pet name that begins with the letter Z. So we say like begins with Z now. So open quote Z, and I'm going to put asterisk and close quote. So it begins with Z, and the asterisk means anything after the Z. If it is that I want a pet name that has in the, if I want the pet name, I didn't want the name to start with Z, so I put asterisk, anything before, then I will write Z and close my quote. All right, so it means that Z will come after, maybe towards the end. All right, and if it is that I want a name that has Z in it at all, so I would have asterisk, Z, asterisk, and close my quote. All right, let me see if we have any such name. All right, let me just press run. Alright, now we only have names that starts with Z. Right click and go to my design view. Alright, so because we just want the name that starts with Z, so I'm going to remove the asterisk from before. Alright, so that's how we use the asterisk. Right? So it is, we call these wildcards. Alright, so it's like Z asterisk. Alright, because you can't write out all the names of the animals with Z. No, you can't do that. If it's a specific animal, as though Orville Clark was a specific name, then you could. But because we want, it's more than one type of pet that has the letter Z that starts their name, we'll have to use the wildcard, which is the asterisk sign. Alright, so it's been like Z asterisk, and close my quote. And let me press run, and there you have it. So we have a dog, we have an hamster that has names with Z, zipper and zucchini. Alright, and let me quickly close this off. The video is already lengthy and I didn't want it to go so long. List the name of all the hamsters, right? And name the query hamster. Alright, so create. Alright, let me just quickly do this one. Pet info, add, close. Alright, so all the names of, what did it say? List the name of all the hamsters. So we have the pet ID, the pet name, the name of all the hamsters, and the pet type. Alright, so the pet type will be hamster. Hamster. Alright, let me press run and see. So here we have the name of all the hamsters. We have 2 hamsters, Zucchini and Nimrod. And that is it. Alright, so guys, this video is already lengthy. Alright, so I don't want to keep up much more time. Thank you very much for watching. Do hope you understood something that took place here today. Alright, let me show you what is here. Right, that took place here today. This was another database question. Hope you were able to follow through with it. Hope you were able to understand what I did here today. Alright, I'm going to ask you to try to attempt the question if you can. And also, let me know your questions or concerns with this topic in the comment section below. If you like the video, please give it a big thumbs up. Alright, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe to be a part of my EDPM family. Alright, thank you very much for watching, and see you in my next upload as I try each and every time to make EDPM simple. Bye-bye.